What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way, Season 7, Episode 3, Naya Safar. Let's get into Jenny and Sumit. So, Jenny and Sumit are on their way to meet with Sumit's former business partner and friend, Rohit. Now, Rohit and Sumit were in the restaurant business together. I don't know if they were co-owners, co-partners, or if Rohit owned the whole entire business and Sumit was just working for him. I have a feeling Sumit was just working for him. So at some point in the running of that restaurant, Rohit had given Sumit the full responsibility of the day-to-day operations of the restaurant because Rohit was going to concentrate on his other businesses. And because Jenny was so needy and so desperate of Sumit's time, he could not put the time that he needed to put into the restaurant when he was left alone running it. So the business ended up failing. Now, Rohit blames Jenny and Sumit for the business failing. Jenny and Sumit blame Rohit for the business failing. And I guess there's this tension or this bitterness between Rohit and Sumit and Jenny. So they're going to go meet up with him and they want to get the old restaurant equipment, the old kitchen equipment, like the air fry, not the air fryers, the deep fryers, the grills, stoves, etc. So on their way there, they're talking about how Rohit is very jealous of them because Sumit is married and Rohit is not married. And I was, thoroughly confused because there's nothing about Jenny and Sumit's marriage that would garner any kind of jealousy or envy in anybody. Um, no, absolutely not. I don't know what kind of situation this is, what kind of relationship this is, because I've been watching Jenny and Submit for years, ever since they appeared on the scene many, many years ago. And I have never, ever gotten romantic love between these two people. I don't know what it is. It's something that's not quite, it's not friendship, but I don't see sparks. I don't see chemistry. I don't see attraction between these two people. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. So it just really looks like, you know, it looks like the situations where you have a very, like an older woman, and she needs companionship. And so she'll take on a companion and no one can really define their relationship because there's something going on there, but it's not quite a normal romantic type of relationship. So that's how I see this. I see this as this older woman who needed companionship and this younger guy who basically, bamboozled her into having a relationship with him when she thought that she was dating a young, hot, muscle toned underwear model. Okay, that's what she thought she was dating when he catfished her, but it turned into what it is now. And like I said, I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what this is. I don't know what it's called. It's something that's very unique. It's a combination of a lot of things, but it's also lacking in a lot of things. I'm speaking very ambiguous because this relationship between Jenny and Simit is very ambiguous. So I don't see how anybody could be jealous of this. Rohit seems to be, a young guy. He's not that bad looking. If he's looking for a relationship, he's not looking for anything that closely resembles what's going on between Sumit and Jenny. He's looking for a woman close to his age or a nice young lady who's able to have children with him and have a family with him. I think Rohit is looking for something like that. He's not looking for whatever this is that Jenny and Sumit are doing. So they want to go and meet up with him because they want to see if he will give them this kitchen equipment for free. That is their goal, is to get the kitchen equipment for free. So Jenny and Submit, they get there and they're looking at the equipment. It's very old, it's dirty, it's dusty. And so Rohit asked them if they could even can y'all even cook, and Submit was like, yeah, Jenny makes her spaghetti, and Rohit was like, oh yeah, I remember eating spaghetti at your house. It was very good spaghetti, and even as he said that, he couldn't say that with a straight face. Okay, he busted out laughing, and Jenny was offended, and she was like, what is so funny? And Jenny even tried to come back at him by talking about how her spaghetti might be good, but he doesn't know how to. run businesses. His businesses are always failing. So, Jenny was really hurt. It really struck a nerve when he was laughing at the fact that, the only thing that she can cook is spaghetti. So, you know what? On her grave, they should put, here lies Jenny. She made a lot of spaghetti. A lot. Rohit said, anyways, Sumit asks for the equipment on credit because he can't get it for free. So he's asking Rohit, can I get it on credit? And Rohit was like, no, absolutely not. I can let you have it first month free, but then the second month I want you to pay all the money. And I think it was worth like $400 for the equipment. So they go ahead and they strike a deal. Sumit then says that Rohit is jealous of him because Sumit used to work for Rohit, and now Sumit is starting his own business. And so Rohit is jealous of that. Like, why do y'all think everybody's so jealous of y'all? I don't understand. Submit, you were working in a call center. There's nothing wrong with call center work. It's needed. But you were working at a call center when you met Jenny. It wasn't like you were rolling in dough and you had like this, top position at a corporation, like the executive or CEO. And then your friend, felt sorry enough for you to bring you on to his restaurant business, which, you couldn't even handle that. Okay, because your wife wouldn't let you do what you needed to do to make that business a success. So the fact that you're saying that Rohit is jealous because you're married and Rohit is jealous because you're starting your own business, it's all very delusional. So that, like I said, they make a deal where he's gonna sell him the equipment, and he's giving them 1 month free, but the next month he has to pay the full amount for it. And Rohit tells us that Jenny and Sumit have no idea what they're getting themselves into in starting this restaurant business. All restaurant businesses across the world are difficult. And so he was talking about how in this situation, the whole entire family is going to be running this business, and knowing how his family is, Rohit was like, yeah, they're not going to be able to, it's not going to work because they're going to continuously butt heads. They're going to clash on so many things. They're probably going to end up killing each other. So, yeah, Sumit is in for a very rude awakening if he's thinking that there's any hope for success in running this restaurant business with his family. Moving on from there, y'all, let's talk about Johnny and Khloe. So, Khloe is about to she's about to arrive in Aruba, and Johnny is very nervous. He's getting his house ready. He made sure that her silk pillowcases are on her pillows. And he tells us that he hopes that his home is going to be up to Khloe's standards because Khloe comes from privilege. He talks about how spoiled she is. And he talks about how is she going to get used to living in Aruba when she's only been in Aruba when she's on vacation and having a good time. Now she's going to be living the day to day life of Aruba. So he's worried about how quickly she's going to be able to acclimate to that. Johnny talks about losing his mother. Because he was talking about the last time that he lived with a woman was when he lived with his mother, and it was her last year of life when they were living together, and how difficult it was in losing his mother. So he talks about that. So we get a little bit of glimpse of Johnny and his background and who he is as a person. He said that when his mother died, it was, a pain like no other, and he felt like he lost himself, or lost a part of himself when his mother passed away. So Khloe finally arrives in Aruba. So the two little munchkins have finally reunited. And when she gets to his place, she's happy to see her silk pillowcases. And then she asks him about hot water. And he tells her, in Aruba, we don't need hot water. And he talks about how in America, because, in certain parts it gets really, really cold, yes, hot water is necessary, but in Aruba, it doesn't get below 75 degrees. So we don't see winter, we don't see snow over here, it doesn't get cold, so we don't really need hot water. So she tells him that she needs her hot water and that she's willing to pay extra, like $100 extra per month in order to get hot water. And he's trying to convince her that it's really not needed. So there was just a little bit of Johnny and Khloe, her arriving in Aruba, and what her first few moments are like in Aruba. Moving on from there, we have Luke and Madeline. So we see Luke packing up, and he is actually packing up fur coats. I guess, for those blistering cold winters in Colombia, he wants to be prepared. So he's packing up his stuff, and his dad takes him to the airport, and He's telling his dad about the bachelor party. He's talking to his dad how, Madeline, she's used to living a certain type of lifestyle, and he's worried that if he's not able to maintain her lifestyle, her bougie lifestyle, that he could be it could be the end of them. She would end up leaving him if he can't maintain her lifestyle. And I'm thinking to myself, look, Luke, doesn't this scream gold digger? If she's going to leave you, if you're worried about her leaving you, if you can't maintain her lifestyle, then it makes it seem like she's only with you for the money. And I don't know why you're not offended by that, Luke. So at the airport, Luke's dad gives him a check for $3,000 to kind of help him get started in Colombia. And once again, we see another example of how great of a dad Luke has. Moving on to Anthony and Mano. So they finally landed in France, and she's reunited with her parents after 10 long years, and it's very bittersweet for her. It's bittersweet because she is happy to see her family, but then she also feels like a failure that she has to come back home, and she feels like she couldn't cut it or she couldn't make it in LA. So she starts crying and she's talking about how, she's really sad that she had to give up her life in America to return to France. And I'm sitting here watching her and I'm like, Mano, are you ever happy? This is what, episode number 3, and the only time that we saw you happy was when you were taking pictures poolside with your plus size model friends. Other than that, every other time that we've seen you, you're angry, you're sad, you're confused, you're worried, you got anxiety. You're never happy. She's not happy when okay, she talks about money. She's got money issues, and she's not happy about that. She's not happy about the role reversals in her marriage, how she's the main breadwinner, her husband's the main caretaker for their child. She's not happy about that. She's not happy about having to come back to France. And it's like, girl, you are purposely choosing to look at the negative things in your life and concentrate solely on those, forgetting about any of the positive. I understand that, you going back home to France is just like, oh, whatever, it's my home country, I'm used to it. But I mean, for the rest of us, it'd be great to be living in France, in Marseille or Marseille's France. It would be great to live there. But I understand that for you, it's what you've always known. It's nothing new to you. You have a family that's willing to help you out in starting your life in France, instead of you and your husband needing to struggle and spend an unnecessary amount of money on hotels or Airbnbs until you get your own place. You're going to be living with your family for free. You have a man that stuck around and didn't abandon you when you got pregnant. You have a man who doesn't feel less than, or who doesn't resent you for making more money than he does, or for being the main breadwinner. He doesn't look down upon you. He's willing to work himself, because he talks about getting a job in France and he's very supportive. When y'all got into that huge argument, he apologized first. You never apologized. In fact, you said that because he talked about how you were, what did he say exactly? How you really weren't present as a mom, but not as harsh as that, because you're not really like the main caretaker of your son. That really cut you deep. And you're like, I'm not going to forgive him for that. I'm not going to ever forget that he said that. Like, you want to hang on to misery, Mano, and life is too short for that, girl. And misery and unhappiness and negativity, all that can affect your health. Okay, so I don't know what to tell you. You need therapy. Moving on to Matthew and Greta. Y'all, nothing happened with the Catwoman because she FaceTimes her fiance, Matthew, and she asked him if he has been looking for apartments. And he's like, oh, snap. I forgot. I've been so busy with whatever else, with work, I guess. And she's like, oh my God, because she's like, has a lot of anxiety about living with his family, because of her upbringing. She doesn't want to live with his family. She wants them to get their own place. And it kind of slipped his mind, or he didn't care enough to look, or he got too busy, or whatever the situation was. And so she's upset about that. And then to add insult to injury, his father used to be a butcher. So their refrigerators are like stacked with meat. And she's a vegan. And so he was showing her all, because she asked him, is there enough room in the refrigerator for our food? I guess they're vegan food. And so he opens up the deep freezer and it is like chock full of meat. and she's looking at it and she's like so disgusted. So she's got to live around all that meat. She's going to live around his family, and she hates family. And yeah, so she's got a lot of, y'all, on top of all of that, she's going to be leaving her precious cat. So she talked more about her cat than she did about anything else. She even admitted that and I don't think she was joking when she said that she loves her cat more than she loves her fiance. I don't think she was joking about that at all. I think she was dead serious. And I think it's a little weird. You know, I have cats. Okay, I'm a pet grandma. So I understand the relationship between pets and their owners. I understand it. I get it. I respect it. But I think with this lady here, it's a little bit too much, a little bit too far. Especially, he even talked about how when he would be with her and her cat, he felt left out. He goes, I didn't even feel like a third wheel. I felt like you and the cat were riding the bicycle. I wasn't even a third wheel. I was just a spectator watching y'all ride away into the sunset together. He even said that. He talked about the love triangle between him, her, and her damn cat. Like it's that serious and it's that weird. It's very weird. Okay, yeah. So I guess Greta, she's going to be like the weird person of 90 Day Fiance the other way season 7. She's going to be the weird one. There's always a weird one. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later.